now. All right. So, okay. All right, let me see the thing and then we can start. Okay, welcome everyone. Today, another person that will be sharing her testimony, a wonderful testimony that we will be listening, is Sister Serene Chaw from KL. So we will have her to share with us about her experience, how the Lord bless her, how the Lord transform her, how the Lord give her breakthrough. Okay, so let us welcome Serene Chaw. Over to you, Serene. You can introduce yourself, please.
Hi, everyone. We're really glad to see you online. Yeah. And thanks so much, Joshua, for giving me this platform to tell my story. Yeah. So just a quick introduction of what I do is that I am currently a solopreneur. Yeah. And I am a HR and management consultant and a coach. Yeah. And currently, I'm holding also the role of Chief Transformation Officer for Wealth of Life Women, where we help women discover who they are, their life purpose, and how to get there, via a wise financial stewardship. All right. So I have been in corporate for the last 20 years. I've resigned middle of last year to give myself the opportunity to evolve and do things that are closer to my heart. And also, of course, I felt that it is time to leave the corporate. Yeah. So in the next 30 minutes, I will share with you my life overcomings and my breakthroughs, and importantly, how the Lord has walked with me. And so these are like the greatest defining moments in my life that only my inner circle so far knows about it. Yeah. So this is the first time I'm sharing it in a forum like this, and I just hope that you will bless whoever who is listening. Yeah, and that you will find courage through everything that you are going through. All right.
Wonderful. Wonderful introduction there by Serene. Before we go any further, now I think when I have earlier conversation with Serene, I know that she had gone through some very difficult moments. The question is, how did those crises bring you and your family closer to God?
Yeah, so that's a really good question, Joshua. So maybe let me just tell you a bit about what were those crises, and then I will also let you know how did I travel or journey with my family. Yeah. And of course, in that whole process is also a lot of spiritual formation happening, and maturity in a lot. So so some of those crises that is really life defining. One of them and this happened in my late teens. So late teens moving into my late 20s, which is about 10 years. Okay, I had depression. Yeah. Only thing is that when I was going through it, I didn't know that it is depression or a clinical depression, but this is actually on hindsight when I look back that I realized that, it actually ticked all the checklists of what a depression is like. But because depression was very taboo then, about 15 to 20 years ago, my family also don't know how to walk me through it, or whether to bring me to see someone, and whether I need medication. But in any case, that happened, in my late teens, and it was a really, really tough time, and it was many factors that have caused it, including some relationships that didn't work out, and and which has also impacted my university life. Okay, and my subsequent relationships. So in the earlier years, I didn't feel like meeting people or coming out of my room. It was at the height of it. I had suicidal tendencies. The only thing that really, of course, by the grace of God and His protection, right, He has preserved my life. But otherwise, it was a continuous cycle of spiraling. Spiraling down, and it's always like this sense of dark clouds hanging over my head. But somehow I managed to graduate from university, as like a high performing students, which again, by the grace of God, I really didn't know how I did it. And then came out to work, and then of course, work has got its stresses, and I was holding one of the most stressful jobs that anyone could actually go for, and I was a financial auditor. Many late nights, all right, many late nights, and but and that actually went on for a couple of years. I was a financial auditor, and of course, when I have depression as well, it basically it basically impacted the way I manage stress. Yeah, the small stresses in life, including tight timelines, yeah, including the kind of work that is given to me, especially if it is new work. It can be very stressful, especially if it's the first time I'm doing it. Yeah, so it was not easy. Yeah, meeting the deliverables and going through 5 years of very stressful job. And of course, in that 5 years, there were, or rather in that entire 10 years where I had the depression, my family, of course, came alongside me. They didn't really know to call it depression, but because they were with me in whatever capacity that they can, as well as very good friends that came alongside me. Yeah, a small community that came across with me, believers and non-believers alike. I was able to then overcome day by day, and imagine 10 years battling and overcoming and praying day by day for the Lord to sustain and heal me. And every day having total reliance on Him. Yeah, as I face my daily stresses, battling the dark clouds. And what happened was that at the end of the 10 years, when I was in my late 20s, the last of the dark clouds went away. All right, and I was totally healed. But it was a journey. It was not overnight. It was a journey. It was a total healing without medication.
Oh, excellent, Serene. Excellent. So how again, just I jump the gun, because since this program is the moment, I jumped the gun saying that, asking that question. But I think now is the right time to ask, how did that all this of depression bring you and your family closer to God?
So because we didn't understand what was happening, right? We prayed that this whole dark clouds would leave me. Yeah, and of course, because they were also praying alongside me. Yeah, my family and all of that, and that also basically challenged their faith, lah. Right, to see, especially my parents, to see, hey, what's happening with their daughters, and they don't know. Okay, but let me also tell you that it didn't end there with the depression. So in about 2009, that was like 10 years of depression. What hit me after that is, as soon as the depression ended, I was hit by a family financial crisis in 2009 itself. Okay, so we were in debts. We were in debts in the millions, via credit cards and property loans, etc. And imagine 7 credit cards being maxed out, 7 to 8 properties, of which half of the developers ran away, absconded. Yeah, and there is actually no way that we could have gotten out of it as a family without divine intervention. So this is actually another faith journey for the family. Yeah, for us to get closer to God. And of course, as a family, we united. Yeah, I wasn't very close to my parents and some of my siblings, but because of this, we cried out to God, on Lord, how do we manage this crisis? Yeah, it is really way above and beyond us. And together with my dad, we strategized how do we carry it out, paying and reducing the debts, paying off the banks and so on and so forth. And when we pray, one of the things that the Lord said to do is to buy over my family home. Okay? which I'm like, oh God, do I really need to do this? Because, I mean, it's not ideal, right? The family home has already been totally paid off by dad. Now it's refinancing it, but, me taking over as owner. But that was one of the strategy that the Lord put in our hearts that I should do. Yeah, so that we can have that money to pay off any urgent steps first. Okay, and so by the middle of 2009, I bought over my family's home, and in the midst of purchase, the Lord challenged me to give 50% of what I have in my bank account to a missionary friend, and he was very specific about who it is. So imagine, right, in the middle of the purchase, there are many, fees to lawyers and so on and so forth, right? And then that's my complaint to God. I said, really, God, is this the right timing? But that's what he challenged me to do. Yeah. And of course, that is an act of faith, right? To obey God. And when I told my family, of course, they were like, wow, looks like we're actually traveling this faith journey with you and really knowing God, better in a different perspective in the middle of the crisis. And I tell you, God really have a sense of humor. So if he said, give 50% of what I have in 2009, right in the midst of that whole crisis, 2 or 3 years later, he said to give 100% of what I had in my bank account, to someone that he has actually designated. And I asked the Lord why. He says that whatever the power of mammon, love of money or idolatry over money had over my life, it has to be broken. And that was the journey. And so when my family saw me having to give out, right, right in the middle of crisis, having to give out what I have in my reserve and all of that, right? They were also like, okay, so this is a walk of faith, purely walk of faith. And of course, in those times is also when we initiated our family altar, coming together as a family and seeking the Lord together in those years. And we have actually continued on doing that. So that's how we as a family got closer to the Lord, closer to each other. And I would say that today, my family life and family relationship has been the best that it has ever been. Since then. Since I ever known my family, actually.
So it's wonderful, the journey of overcoming depression, overcoming financial situation, and also overcoming relationship. I call it bondage, and you have overcome this. And I would just say that the family that pray together, stay together, is very to you, very, very, very appropriate. So let me ask you this question. Actually, what you have, but have that depression and financial crisis at that 2009 things. How do you actually discover your real identity, if I can call it?
Great question. So the story didn't end there, right? So what happened is that when the whole financial crisis happened in 2009, right? What happened, and this is when my life got really interesting. So when I tell my friends this story, right, I always tell them that, hey, just when you think that life has thrown you something so incredible that you cannot overcome, that is when the Lord truly, truly intervenes. So in 2010, December, to be very, very precise, the Lord asked me, and I was actually sitting in my room just reading a book. I believe that it was The Heavenly Man. I was reading that, and I was just spending, because I love reading, so I spent the whole day reading. And sometime in the afternoon, the Lord asked me, and this is the second time in my life that He asked me. He said, "Will you give me your life?" So I'm like, God, but you have asked me that the first round, right? And that was a couple of years back, and I said yes. So why are you asking me this question again? Are you not convinced with my answer? Yeah, which was yes, by the way. But I also realized that I couldn't answer that question straight away. And I struggled for 45 minutes. Yeah, I was just struggling. It's like, oh God, I bought over my family's home. Now I've got, this additional thing to pay and so on and so forth. What does giving your life means? Does it mean that I become a pastor and where is my sustenance and so on and so forth? And I keep on telling the Lord, you must take care of my family. You must take care of my family. So I was just talking, just rambling, pouring my heart to the Lord, right? But never really answered the question. But after 45 minutes, the Holy Spirit asked one more time. But yes, I hear you. Yeah, I know, but whatever you're going through and all of that, but you have not answered my question. So will you give me your life? And then that's when I said yes. Even though it was a very difficult yes, but the struggle of 45 minutes led me to a place of acceptance, a true place of acceptance and a conviction that, yes, Lord, I will give you my life. And what happened very soon after is very quick. So that was in December 2010. And in January 2011, 1 month after, the Lord in a worship service, in a church service, and we were worshiping, right? He asked me, do you know what is the root word of your name, Serene? So my parents gave me an English name that starts with, that is spelled SHIREEN, Serene. So I said, yeah, the root word for the name Serene is serene. And then I waited for a while. I said, okay, why are you asking me that again? And then the Lord, in that soft, still voice, said that from today onwards, your name will be called Serene. Again, wow, I'm like, did I hear you correctly? Because in modern times, right, do you change people's names? Yeah, I was just struggling with that. I mean, I know that in the Bible, you do change many people's names, but do you actually do that in modern times? And there was repetitive confirmation and affirmation that this is to be my new identity. Yeah, and of course, I struggled for a few months and all of that, and eventually I started using it. I started introducing myself as Serene. Okay, and I tell you, in that same year, in 2011, yeah, when I embraced my name a little bit more, that's when on one Saturday, the Lord invited me to dream. And this has got, whatever that I will tell after this, has got everything to do with my identity, right? So the Saturday in the 2011, the Lord said, why don't you set aside this whole day just to dream? Do nothing. Have a piece of paper, a pencil or a pen, just dream. Just write down your most audacious dreams. Yeah? Dream with me. Write down everything that your heart's desire. It doesn't have to be spiritual. Just write down. I tried. Just write. Yeah. And you know what? By the end of the Saturday, I broke down in tears. Because when I looked at the list and I tabled the list to the Lord at the end of Saturday, I look at the list that is so achievable, so unaudacious, and it really didn't reflect a big God, the God that we worship. It really didn't reflect him. And that caused me to tear. And it was a big deal for me because I have always been a dreamer. And I realized that the depression, the financial crisis have put me on a survival mode. And I lost that ability to dream. So imagine a dreamer who has lost her ability to dream. That's a big deal. And I told the Lord in that evening, I said, Lord, you must help me to dream again. Because if that's who I am, right, I want to regain that. And so what happened is that, what happened is that in August of that year, a couple of months after that dreaming session, I was in a holiday with some friends in a shower, actually of all places in a shower. And then the Holy Spirit said this, why don't you revisit some of those things that you want to do, but had no time or no money to actually do them? The first thing that came to mind was as simple as, actually, I wanted to learn swimming. Yeah, but it just didn't happen because I was in such, I was like handling and juggling so many things and with a very demanding job. And there were also other things in mind, like traveling and so on and so forth. Nothing spiritual, nothing spiritual. And I also believe that question to me was not asking for a spiritual response. It's asking about what is it that you want to revisit, right? So then I thought, wow, that thought or that question wouldn't have come from me. It must be God. And then I say, okay, Lord, I don't know why you asked me that question, but now that you have asked me this question, let me revisit some of those things. So I started very small different changes. Yeah, small different changes in my routine to break out of that survival mode, and to actually allow myself to take in new things and to dream. Yeah, whatever that I wanted to do. It can be very small things like, hey, I've not gone to that restaurant, I've not tried it. Let's go there and eat. Yeah, or let's visit this place, or let's play this sport. Yeah, so it was actually something very, very simple. Yeah, and that was how my 2011 ended. But 2012 came, and I had an idea. Why not make this my lifetime project, to do new things for the first time for the rest of my life? Not because I am a millennial who just want to have this feel good time, not because I want to YOLO. Yeah, it is none of those philosophy, but it is because of the invitation of the Lord that I felt like, okay, I need to take this seriously, and I began to name it as Project First Time. So whatever that I was doing for the first time and so on and so forth, I named it so that it became personal, it became mine, and so one of the first things that I did, it as part of Project First Time was to do something that I've never done before. I've never gone to Europe, right? I have never done a solo travel. I have never done backpacking, but I combine all these three into 25 days, 6 countries and 7 cities. Yeah, so I actually did that. Plan all myself, and I actually did that. And since then, in 2012, and 8 years, I'm counting from then, 2012 to let's say 2020, when we stopped traveling, I have visited 30 over countries for work, for leisure, for adventure, etc. Right. So this is just a glimpse of what Project First Time means to me. That when I get to do new things, it's as if it's a breath of fresh air that allows me to be who I am, to dream. And it also speaks about doing it afraid, meaning I can be afraid. It's a human thing, but I'm actually doing this to overcome my fear. It's a leap of faith. It's definitely out of my comfort zone. And it's as if the Lord is inviting me to think out of the box. Yeah, a life of, of fulfilled dreams, a life well lived, and definitely a life with no regrets. And it doesn't have to be the big things, because the Lord said the small things matter too. Yeah. And so Project First Time also continues. So, I mean, of course, I'm doing it today and all of that. But the other defining thing, that is also in line with my identity and the question that the Lord asked, will you give me your life? In 2015, the Lord said, go back to school. And I asked him, what does school means? He said, you know what it means. I knew that I have a full-time call over my life, but it is not within the confines of the walls of the church. Yeah. And I know that it is theological studies that I'm supposed to go for. And then I enrolled myself into a Bible school here in Malaysia. And then And then in the same year is when I also came out of the institutional church, the church with four walls. And I began to have a lot of strong connections, with like-minded people who have been friends with me for many years and have walked with me, my mentors, my very close friends. And we are an organic church community and setting. Yeah, and that was in 2015 itself, the same year that I went to Bible school. And in 2018 or 2019, we named it the kampung, which literally we know it means the village. And it has the feel of that whole community, which is fully organic. While of course we have some structure, not extremely structured. We meet twice a month. And we are in full-on discipleship mode, and about doing life together.
Okay, wonderful, Serene Chaw. That is, a transformation taking place from a survival mood into a revival mood, if I may call it. All right, and I think the key for her to achieve this is, if I can say, is obedient to the Lord. Yeah. So I think you have made it in such a way that is a very, very good turn around. All right. From a survival mood to a revival mood. This is excellent. What do you call that, situation in your life. Now, you are talking about the organic church. I think maybe you would like to elaborate what is the organic church.
Yeah, sure. So like what I say, right? It's a community that meets outside the four walls. Yeah, we meet in someone's living room. We meet in cafes. We meet in facilities. Yeah, whichever facilities that allow for the numbers. We are doing life together in the sense that we give practical help to each other. We extend our help, our social help during the pandemic, with people who need it, and so on and so forth. So it is, if you think about it, it is like a group of friends who are like-minded, and all of us love the Lord. Yeah, we basically add on to each other by sharing our own stories, challenging each other, to grow stronger in the Lord. The only thing that we don't have is a building called church, because we believe that, well, if in the past we go to church, now we are the church. This is the church, the temple of the Holy Spirit.
Ecclesia.
Yeah, ecclesia, yes. The whole concept of ecclesia, the whole concept of discipleship, which is our strong emphasis. So discipleship happens when you are sitting around a dining table, talking, and just sharing your life and sharing what the Lord has done, and so on and so forth.
Yeah. So if I can ask this question, what are the benefits of this organic church, as you mentioned just now? Besides that, what are the benefits, or rather challenges, that the organic church face?
So, well, I would say that let me start with the benefits first. I would say that because it is very fluid and there is not much of structure, right? We are able to mobilize a lot of financial help or practical help. There's no big committee telling us, okay, we need to have this approval and so on and so forth. Yeah.
We keep.
Yeah, it's very I mean, it's the response time to offer help within the community and outside is very quick, right? And we don't have programs like what the churches have, like Easter to the churches and Easter to us may mean quite different things. Yeah, so we are not driven by programs, but rather we are driven by, hey, just life in general, and really about trying to ensure that everyone knows Jesus Christ, as their Lord, and also be who they are meant to be, so that they themselves reach out in their capacity, in the capacity that the Lord has, given them. Yeah. So again, what is their identity? what is their life calling. And we want to empower and enable that to happen for each and every one of the of our people, all right? And there's also no membership. So yeah, people don't say, hey, can I join? You just come and take a look. There's no membership, right? So I would say, of course, that is on one hand, it is all these benefits of an organic community. The other, the challenges would be probably, not everyone is suited, right? Because maybe some people, they want that structure, they learn better or know God better in a structure. It also depends on where they are in their life as Christian, right? And of course, I've been always asked, what about financial accountability? What about spiritual accountability? We do all of that. Yeah, we do all of that. And in fact, we don't keep any money at year end. So whatever money that we have in terms of offerings and all of that, right? Everything is used up for social work, for the people within the community, and it is zeroized at year end. Yeah, so that in the next year, we start all over again. And that is actually that the part of living by faith and knowing that God will provide for whatever that we need.
Maybe at this juncture, Serena, you have any photos to share with us, so that people will be able to identify, what the so-called project one, is it?
Project First Time.
First time. Maybe if you have, just share with us so that we can identify with you more. Yeah. But I think just now the organization is very good. I think it's talking about empowering, equipping, encouragement, right? And all those E, yeah. So evangelism, so 4E, I call it, yeah. So it's wonderful. It's a wonderful structure, and we ourselves is Ecclesia. Okay, this is the project First Time.
Yeah, you can see my screen, right?
Yes.
So these are the few things that I have done as part of Project First Time. Of course, the backpack that I mentioned. All right, and here, I mean, these are just some representative pictures. Of course, there are many more things since 2012 that the Lord has challenged me to. Yeah, so the travels are definitely really, really memorable, and that is, the Lord say it's okay. You take pleasure in that. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine within your financial limits and so on and so forth. And then I was also given the opportunity to join a company where I held a global role, all right, looking after 28 countries in my area of expertise. And this is actually my beloved team, whom I'm no longer a team with because I've resigned from that company. But that is the time that the Lord helped me to exercise my muscles of resilience. Yeah, that whatever the depression has took away and have eaten away in terms of resilience, he has actually put it back. So that's a lot of resilience and challenging stuff that I got to do for the company, including setting up a department from scratch, a new department. Yeah, and of course the food that we eat and all of that. If some of you would probably be able to identify with this, it's called a cruffin. Yeah, a cross between a croissant and a muffin. Right, so I was in search of unique things, and I also got in 2015. I got to also be involved in a musical called Love Sickle, right? Where it was produced and directed by a very close friend of mine, and it was actually a dream come true. Yeah, because I've always wanted to be in a musical, and there I was. I had the chance to, even though it's actually a very simple production. I got my coaching certification done. That was back in 2014, right? Here on the left, you see me with a bunch of photos at the back. That was a platform called Stories and Us back in 2017, where I got to showcase everything that I've done under Project First Time. Yeah, so we actually had a weekend of showcase where it is not just me or my friend who is showcasing our photography, but it is also a platform for other storytellers, like other photographers, poets, painters, etc., to actually come on this platform where the public will also participate. and they get to see what are our products, and of course, that also include River. She was my Jack Russell. So that's the first time I ever had a dog, and she was truly a joy. I also graduated in seminary, and now I am continuing my education further, and possibly mating of doing a doctorate in the future. I did my marathons, my 5K, 10K, and so on and so forth. And this here is my organic family, my organic church family. Just a glimpse about how we meet, how we interact with each other, and the fact that we are about probably, I think including children and all of that, it could have been 40, 50, or even more people. So this is Project First Time, and about dreaming new things, resilience as well, and by the grace of God, by 2020, whatever the financial crisis that my family went through, it is officially over. Just when the pandemic hits. So that was the most amazing thing. That we thought, when we go into the pandemic, it's going to be dark and gloom, but that was the signal of the end of the financial crisis.
So there you have it, from Serene Chaw, a wonderful testimony of overcoming not one, not two, but 3 crises in her life, and emerged stronger than ever before. All right, that is a very great testimony that will encourage a lot of people to move on with life. And if you are in that position today, you can learn from her, all right, about how she overcome the problem, the adversity that she has faced. Now, any questions from the floor? We have maybe 5 minutes to go before we wrap up the show. And it's been a very encouraging evening today that we have. All right. Okay, there's a question here from Brother Daniel there. Which church are you serving now? Okay, over to you, Serene.
So I don't know whether Daniel heard me just now when I mentioned that our church is called the Kampong. It's an organic church with organic communities that is not confined within a church building. So that's the unique part of my journey as well.
So any more questions from the floor before we officially close today tonight's session, which is very, very powerful, and next week we have another excellent person now that will continue to share with us, all right, for our last episode of The Moment. All right, now before we go, if there's no question, I would like to ask this question. She have shared the moment, or rather the moments in her life. Now I believe there are more moments to come. Now just name us one moment that you're expecting in the next 1 year. Okay, or yours, Serene.
Wow. If I can say what are the other moments, is that I believe that we as the Church of Christ, all right, the Universal Church of Christ is going to go into the beginning of a new era. And this has nothing to do with, endemicity and all of that. The world can see it as being endemic, but we who are going into a new chapter will go even bolder, stronger in our discipleship, right? More convicted, because all of us would have learned something from the pandemic. So the pandemic is not to waste. And my moment in this new era is I told you about my identity, right? I have also clarified during the pandemic what is my life purpose. And in 2 words, it's called igniting dreams. I get the kick out of and providing platform, enabling people to reach their goals and their dreams in Christ Jesus. Yeah. And I know that that is my superpower because I do that really well. And the Lord has positioned me in such a time as this to actually do this. And so that will be the defining moments from now on in my life.
All right. Thank you, Serene. There's one question that is from Stephanie. Where are you located, and how to connect some? What was the question again? I missed. How? Wait, the question missing. How to connect someone to you if they're interested to join your organic church? The question posed to you from Stephanie.
Well, best is to basically get a hold of my mobile number, which I'm sure that Joshua will be able to give you. Yeah.
Yeah.
So then we can talk about it, and yes, I can connect you with our organic church. Yeah. So yeah.
So there you have it. All right. Today's program, a wonderful guest from KL, and we thanks everyone that present tonight. And I believe the Lord will continue to use every one of you for His glory. All right. Thank you so much, and we see you again next week on the moment. Thank you so much.
Thank you.